As soon as you take your first steps into the realm of serious knife and EDC enthusiasts, you will no doubt be inundated by a tsunami of Spyderco knives. And if you've never come across the legendary Golden, Colorado-based brand prior to this tidal wave of cutlery, then you will probably think to yourself, why are they all so ugly? Well, honestly, you're not wrong. Traditionally speaking, very few production Spydercos are quote-unquote good-looking. But looks aren't everything. Put your jaded pettiness away for just a minute and allow me to introduce you to arguably one of the ugliest Spydercos, and one that just so happens to be one of my favorites. This, the Spyderco Yojimbo 2. Like a fine wine or a glass of top-shelf bourbon, the Yojimbo 2 is an acquired taste, no doubt. Classically beautiful? No. Clean and elegant profile? No. But what it lacks in beauty, it makes up for in literally every other conceivable way. The American-made Yojimbo 2 and its fixed-blade brother, the Ronin, are the brainchildren of Michael Janich, a world-renowned self-defense guru who just so happens to specialize in the art of wielding a blade. Now, before I go any further, I am a 135-pound desk jockey from Southwest Ohio, and I do not often or ever find myself in many life-and-death circumstances, or in any kind of situation where this knife was designed to be used. I use my knives almost exclusively for very basic and menial EDC tasks, opening the mail, packages, breaking down cardboard for recycling, you know, normal stuff. And let me tell you, this self-defense oriented folder takes it all on with a level of grace and ease that I've been hard-pressed to get out of many of my other knives in my collection. The looks, as I said, traditionally speaking, not a real elegant piece. The profile is very tall and, well, for lack of better descriptors, let's call it, lumpy. Yeah, sure, lumpy fits. From the factory, the scales are heavily textured G10 that help add some extra grip when the blood of your enemies gets on your hands, but mine has since been given a new outfit to wear in the form of these stunning grooved micarta scales from Alan Putnam that I dyed sapphire blue. Also from the factory, we are of course stuck with the chromed out stock Spyderco clip that, as you can see, was replaced almost immediately. Closed up, it's a tall piece, and in the pocket it will take up quite a lot of real estate, but it carries well enough from the factory, and the changes I've made to the scales and the clip have really, honestly, upped the ease of carry, and most likely saved many a pocket from that heavily textured sandpaper-esque G10. But it's when we open this knife up that surely women and children will run for safety, and your non-knife-obsessed family members will start to question your sanity. At the business end is this absolutely gorgeous Wharncliffe-style blade done in S30V steel on the base models, and on my variant rocking a beautiful satin finish and this exceptionally tall hollow grind. And well, that blade, that's the blade that made me into the warny whore that I am today. For me, that profile opened up is the quintessence of what a Wharncliffe should be. So the looks, not great, but this knife looks the way it does for one very important reason: ergonomics. The ergos on the Yojimbo here are absolutely magnificent. They are great from the factory with the G10 scales, but with the addition of these micarta scales, Christ, it's so good in the hand. Insanely comfortable in every grip imaginable. Like, you pull this out of your pocket and all of that sculpting on the handle gently and effortlessly coaxes your fingers in exactly the right place. And the handle is plenty big enough to choke back or choke up, and even without a choil of any kind, I always feel like I am in total control of that death machine warnie up front. Seriously, put one of these in your hands. You'll know what I'm talking about. And speaking of that death machine warnie, it's an absolute laser beam, and I try not to use that term very lightly because, well, you know, you use a term too much and it starts to lose its intended effect. But even though we're dealing with some seriously hefty blade stock, that deep hollow grind brings the blade down to an immeasurably thin cutting edge. And this thing just destroys anything it touches. I've had it for a year or so now, and I've carried it a lot, and I've never really had to sharpen it. Maybe a strop here or there, but never a true sharpening. And I think all that has to do with how flawlessly slicey the geometry is on this thing. Shaving sharp the day I got it, and it's still box cutter sharp and slicey to this day. Endlessly satisfying to use in every imaginable EDC task. And finally, the action. This is running on phosphor bronze washers and is fitted with the ever-fidgety compression lock. And as if the ergos and cutting performance weren't enough already to convince you, that big heavy blade paired with the compression lock makes for true fidgeting gold. Nice and snappy on the open, both with the thumb flick and the Spidey flicks. And you can go in for a Spidey drop if you want, or just pinch the comp lock and flick it out with your wrist. All great, all reliable, all nice and snappy. Lockup is solid as rock, and if you want something that is drop shut, the Yojimbo is a guillotine. And it's so smooth and controlled. There's just something so satisfying about having a blade that's this big and this gnarly, feeling this well tamed and controlled. And because there are no bearings, you don't have to worry about, gunking up the inner workings. It will fidget and flip through all the lint and dust you can throw at it. Really, it really is a blast to fidget with. And here I am a year later, and I can't put it down. So all of that being said, where does that leave us with my ugliest and favorite Spyderco? Well, as far as pricing goes, the base model with the black G10 scales and the S30V blade, it'll cost you about $150, $160 at most retailers, but like all Spydercos, the price only goes up from there. Between sprint runs and different blade steels and different color options, the price, yeah, you know how it goes. But for me, the looks have grown on me. And where I once saw an awkward-looking bird-shaped knife, now I see a top-tier cutting machine with nearly unbeatable ergos, one of the sliciest blades I have ever come across, and some of the best fidget-friendly action around. And I think it's beautiful. So, until next time, thank you for watching. Bye-bye now.